Many of us are stuck in a rut. Maybe we've been there for months, and dare I say, some of us have been there for years. And one of the biggest reasons why we are still stuck there is because we're waiting for this magical feeling of readiness. But here's the thing, more often than not, the people that I have seen make progress and get to where I want to go, who are living out the ideas or enacting out the ideas that I am also having just with my own particular flavor, they started way before they had this magical feeling of readiness. They stumbled through the process. So today I kind of want to chat about why is readiness a bit of a myth and how we can build skill in the messy middle before we are so-called ready. Hello, friend and fellow adventurer. My name is Kayla. I'm a multipassionate creative doing all the things and documenting my messy middle so you don't feel so alone in yours. Welcome back to Sidequests and Sideeyes, part cozy tavern, part strategy guide, and a whole heck of a lot of chaos. Around these parts, we hardcore side-eye hustle culture. We go the pace of grace, which is really, really slow, and we celebrate every small win. Showering counts. Okay, so here's the deal. If you are here around my channel, then you know I talk a lot about creativity, artistic expression, encouragement, and strategy around those topics, but for people who are living real life, right? Not people who have endless resources, endless time, endless energy. This is conversation for real people going through real shenanigans in their life. We'll say it that way. So if you've been around these parts for any period of time, then you know I talk a lot about art and creativity, and that's probably why you hang out here, right? To get a little bit of a pick-me-up for your own creative endeavors, right? And I know that so many of us have so many ideas. If you're a multi-passionate like me, I have endless notebooks full of ideas that I know I will never get to, but they're just ideas that I have had over the course of my life. And a lot of those I do hope to get to because I've been a creative person my whole life, and it's something that I've always pursued either as a attempted or part-time or on the side, whatever the case may be. I almost always hit this moment of where I just get stuck in a rut, and I kind of get this, I want to do this thing, but I'm not doing this thing because I want to feel more ready. And because I don't feel ready, I don't feel like I have the skill set to be able to do that. So I'm going to do more research and then some inspiration, and then I'll start. But then the more research I do and the more educational scrolling I do, the less ready I feel. And so then I do not start anytime soon. And I want to maybe address that. I want to address that, but I'm wondering if maybe that is you, and maybe that's why you clicked on this video. And the first thing I want to start with is recognizing that readiness really is a myth, I think. I do believe that you can be more ready than other times. I don't want to throw the whole idea of being ready and being prepared in the trash, because as somebody who prefers being spontaneous, I've also learned over my life that structure is very helpful for me. Structure is very, very helpful. It is our best friend when it comes to being a creative, especially if you are not prone to be organized. Flexible structure is your best friend. So I don't want to say, don't ever be ready, throw that in the trash, who cares, just go for it. Because I do think that there are times you can be more ready. I remember when I found out I was pregnant last year, and one of the things people would always say was like, well, you're never really ready. You're never really ready. You're never really ready. And I just always wanted to push back on that and say, I'm sure that there is a level of that. That's true, right? You can't be ready for the thing you've never experienced because you don't know what it's like. However, I think you can be more ready to have kids at one time in life than in another time of life, right? Me as a 36-year-old, having gone through what I went through, up until this point has made me significantly more ready to be a mother than perhaps when I was 20. Okay, so that's what I mean. Let's use some nuance. Let's come back around to the time when we use a bit of nuance. But on the whole, I do think that readiness is a myth, and there is some aspect of truth in you're never really ready to have kids, but I think in any kind of situations that you haven't experienced it, right? You haven't built the neural pathways, you haven't built the experience of doing that thing, of learning that skill, of taking that first step. Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to be fully ready, simply because you just haven't experienced it. So I want there to be nuance in this when I say that readiness is a myth, because I don't think you should just go off and try to fly a plane without being ready. But I think for those of us who are creatives, we understand when somebody says like, "Hey, readiness is really a myth." I think that generally kind of hits us, and it probably is hitting you right now, because we recognize the endless loop that we get into of, I'm going to do this thing, but I need to acquire the skills first. I need to listen to the podcast. I need to buy the courses. And we spend all of this time trying to chase readiness. And really what we need to be doing is just chasing experience by just jumping in and doing it. And I'm a huge fan of, I love learning. I love taking the courses. I love getting more inspiration. I love hearing from other people. So it's not that I'm throwing that in the trash either, but I realize more often than not, I probably need to have a limit, a place where I say, hey, it's time to shut down the chasing after readiness, which is never really going to happen until I just jump in and do the thing and start moving into action. I also think that one of the things that hinders us from getting out of those ruts is when we spend so much time on education, we kind of, I don't know, it's like we gorge ourselves on education and inspiration. And because we're not really using that anywhere, we kind of become gluttonous on inspiration and education, and it never really goes anywhere. So when we finally start that thing, I have found that being, I don't want to say overeducated, because I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing, but I think when we've gorged ourselves and hoarded information and inspiration, that's a better way to say it. When we've hoarded all of this and we haven't used it, I think sometimes when we go to start something, we actually become more confused. We can't remember like what we learned. And because there are so many options, it's like, oh, well, I could start here or here or here or here or here or here. And so now I'm not even really engaged in what would work best for me or my context, my capacity, whatever I'm doing at that point in my life. Now I'm just thinking about all of this hoarded knowledge and inspiration. Well, I could do this. This happens to me a lot when I'm making things on Canva. I will go through all of these templates to kind of get some inspiration. And I think that's a good place to start. But then eventually I start like scrolling. And then I go to make my thing from scratch or like use a template to start. And then I feel overwhelmed because now I've looked at like 17,000 different vibes that I like, and I don't know where to start. So I don't think, first of all, readiness, I think, is a myth, is more of a myth for creatives than we really give that credit for. But I also think the more time we spend hoarding information, hoarding education, hoarding knowledge, hoarding inspiration, I think it actually confuses us when we do finally get started. So let's say that you do get started. You finally take the leap, you take the first few steps, and you're making progress, and you realize you hit a step and you're like, oh crap, now I don't know what to do next. I don't have the skills to move to this next level. What do you do then? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Not that I'm an expert in this, but I have done this a bit in my life where I jump in before I was ready. Maybe I could have done a little bit more education and preparation and inspiration, right? And I jump in the deep end and I realize, oh no, I don't have the skill set to keep moving forward past this point. And I think this is a great place, and I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. we really need to get to that place of radical acceptance. We need to pause long enough to take a peek at our life, wherever we're at, whatever process we're in, and really assess what's going on. First of all, is this something to, I use this in another video too, but do I need to push? Do I need to pause? Or do I need to pivot? Pivot can mean quit. Pivot can mean go in a different direction. Pivot can mean make some tweaks. Do I need to pause? Like, do I just need to like stop for a little bit, get the education, watch some YouTube videos, and then start again? Or do I need to push through it? Is this thing where it's like, I don't have the skill, I know ideally what I need to do, right? Kind of like driving. You go to driving class, or at least this is how I did it. You read in the book, like, this is how you press on the gas and this is the brakes. And so you get in the car, you know it, but you haven't experienced it yet. And so you need to just do it in order to, kind of signal those neural pathways, tell your brain this is how it goes, get that dopamine hit, that feedback loop. That's when we push. And I use kind of that 3-pronged approach in a lot of different areas. I talk about that a decent bit, but when you're in the middle of something and you've started and you don't have the skill set to keep going, just ask yourself, do I need to pause? Do I need to pivot? Or do I need to push through? And whatever the case may be, you need to radically accept. You need to get honest about where you're at and recognize, like, okay, let's get serious about the life that you actually have, not the life that you wish you had, or, hey, I really, this is my ideal. And it's like, that's cool. And we can still have that in our future. We can have that as a guiding post, but is that what you're experiencing right now? Where's your capacity at? Where's your skill set at? Where are you emotionally now that you've had to kind of recognize, oh my gosh, I don't know how to take the next step? Where are you at really, not where you want to be or where you thought you would be? So that's all I have for you today. I just thought that I wanted to give a little bit of an encouragement on that. And I'm talking to myself as well in this, because I'm practicing this right now as I'm doing more and more videos. I'm working on getting more quantity out so that I can practice and just get a little bit better at my verbiage. Like, what is my vocabulary? What's the vocabulary that we as a community are going to learn and grow, and kind of like, what are some staples, right? That pause, pivot, push. That's something that I've learned, like, ooh, I kind of like that. I'm going to keep using that. Or, radical acceptance, calculating your current capacity. These are things I talk about a lot. We're going on a side quest. These are all things that it's my language, and I'm trying to learn, how am I going to use it? What do I mean? How am I communicating that within this community? I'm learning just clarity, how to get from one point at the beginning of the video to the end of the video. For me, I feel very kind of like, ooh, how, if I have a script, I get a little bit too locked in and feel a little bit like I struggle a little bit. If I don't have any script at all, I kind of like, ooh. So trying to find that balance there. I'm literally in the middle of doing this and learning this concept in real time. And I wanted to share that with you. So let's see, let's think about a side quest for this video. This is something I started adding at the end of my videos per a suggestion from one of my friends, Seisha. And let's think about a side quest we can go on. I want you to think of something that you've been putting off. What is that Pinterest board? What is that thing that you keep saving posts about? I'm doing this. I'm outlining this novel. I've been outlining this novel for 10 years. Whatever the case may be, I want you to find one creative project that you have been putting off, that you're stuck in a rut in. This is not something you've already started. So your first option for a side quest is something that you haven't started, you've been putting off, you're in a rut in. I want you to start. I want you to start. I don't want you to plan. I just want you to start the thing. If it's writing a song, I want you to sit down and write the song. Just write the song. I don't care if it's good. It can be terrible. I want you to make bad art. There we go. That's the side quest. Make bad art. Start that thing and make bad art. And then optional other side quests. If you've already started something and you've maybe quit, you've put it down because you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have the skill set to keep going. I want you to come back to it, revisit, and just maybe find like one YouTube video about how to take the next step. Okay, so maybe it's as simple as, I'm just going to use the fix and flips that we did in the past. I need to replace a toilet. I don't know how to replace a toilet. So I'm just going to, instead of stopping and ignoring the whole project, I did that. I want you to just find one YouTube video and just get some education on, how do I replace a toilet? You can also ask a friend or go somewhere, but I just want you to take the next step of whatever that one thing. Don't try to figure out the rest of the project, just where you got stuck. I want you to find the information you need to take the next step, okay? I think those are some good side quest options for you today. If you want to dive a little bit deeper, then I always have the kind of larger, longer Do Less Side Quests. It's a 7-day self-paced challenge. Basically, we're just unequipping some things we don't need anymore, such as hustle culture and imposter syndrome, and we are equipping some new things that we need, like patience and radical acceptance. As I said, it's a lot of fun. I made this fun little adventure. It's like a story that you go along. You're the main character. If you are interested in diving even deeper, like having a longer side quest than these two that I gave you, check out that below. It's called the Do Less Side Quest. I'm really proud of it. It's fun. And finally, how I end my videos is, if you haven't heard this before or you haven't heard this in a long time, I want to let you know that I'm proud of you and your life is worth getting up for. Your life is worth getting back up for. Talk to you next time, friend. Bye.